Wait, what does it say to do? Oh my God, it's everywhere. I don't think they told me with the whole 20-minute thing that's gonna be grating cheese, you know? Pao De Queijo. Pao De Queijo. Pao De Queso? Definitely not so. That's Spanish. Welcome back to my kitchen. It's January, start of the new year. Everybody's got their health kicks that they're doing. Guess what? It's Thyroid Awareness Month. Now, there are a lot of facts and myths when it comes to thyroid illnesses, hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, Graves, Hashimoto's. I'm gonna do a whole video on that, so you can check that out up here. Today, I was thinking we would do some kind of gluten-free recipe because it's also gluten-free day, January 13th. I thought, man, wouldn't that be nice to make some kind of gluten-free bread? And then I looked it up, and apparently it's really hard, and I don't have time for that, and most people don't have time for that. In fact, even the gluten-free community has kind of given up on it and said, $6 a loaf, completely fine, let's go get some Udis. Great. So today, I thought maybe we can make Pao De Quejio. Is that how you say it? Something like that? Pao De Quejio? Like this. I'm not a chef. I am sure as heck not a baker, so we had to struggle through this together. Let's make this dish. Where did it come from? What they found is that African slaves actually brought it over and they did a mixture of food cultures. They took this cassava root and then they ended up grinding it up and making kind of like a bread roll out of it. And then as time went on, they started cultivating more cheese into it, and then they used tapioca starch, and now it's this wonderful thing it is today. They're gluten-free, they're soy-free. I bet you can make them vegan. I'm not gonna attempt that today because that sounds hard, and we're all about that hashtag busy professional life. So they say this recipe takes about 20 minutes, and we'll see about that. First, let's talk about some ingredients, shall we? So I looked up the most common brand of Brazilian cheese bites you can get, called Brizzy Bites, I believe. These are the ingredients that it says in its list: tapioca flour, eggs, milk, Parmesan cheese, parentheses, part skimmed cow's milk, cheese cultures, salt, enzymes, into parentheses, high oleic safflower oil, cheddar cheese, parentheses, pasteurized milk, salt, cheese cultures, and cellulose to prevent caking, into parentheses, filtered water, and salt. It's not the worst ingredients list, so let's talk about a few of these things. High oleic safflower oil. It's not the worst. There's two different types of things. There's high oleic and high linoleic. It has to do with the omegas that are on it, either 6 or 3. They say one is more inflammatory versus the other. Number one, it's an unsaturated fat. So when it comes to saturated versus unsaturated fat, barring coconut oil, which has its own form of things going on, it is not bad for you. It doesn't have as many inflammatory markers that causes some kind of cardiovascular disease. High oleic safflower oil is not the worst one you can possibly get. I don't have that fancy stuff here. Today we're going to use grapeseed oil because it's in my kitchen. Now the other thing in here is the cellulose. Now here's the thing with cellulose. Back in 2016 they had this whole thing about it comes from wood chips. Does it? No, not normally. Cellulose is the plant structure that comes out of plants. It literally is the thing that makes it fiber. A lot of times, cheese ends up getting coated with this cellulose for anti-caking agents, which is not technically a bad thing if it's good cellulose. Cheese isn't very digestible, so it actually might help getting it through the system, we'll say that. In terms of it at being an ingredient, the only problem with it is that you never know how much cellulose they use in your cheese products. So if it's like the shredded cheese that you get in the store and it's kind of coated with that powdery substance, that's cellulose, and that's what can cause you to have a little bit of a different texture and taste to it. Anyway, let's make this dish. It says you only need like 6 ingredients, so this should be simple, right? And I'm not gonna get in a bowl out and put it in a bowl. I'm gonna use a blender because I can and it's easy. I got 3 different types of cheese. I don't know what kind of cheese I want. Maybe I'll go buck wild and make different kinds, and we'll see how it kind of turns out. First one I got is feta cheese. Now, this isn't the best feta cheese. Usually feta is made out of a goat style or sheep's milk, which is actually easier for you to digest. This one is probably made out of cow's milk. Yeah, pasteurized skim milk, cheese curds. Again, that's cellulose. The reason I even mention feta is because it's pre-crumbled. easy. Now the other thing I thought I would try is queso fresca. It crumbles pretty easily. And then the last one I have is some mixtures of some white cheeses like Parmesan, Asiago, and some smoked Gouda. You're gonna learn real quick, this kitchen's about improvising and alternatives. I'm not a traditional person, but the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shred some cheese and I'll get back to you guys. Let's talk a little bit about some gluten-free fun facts. Gluten gets a bad rap. It's one of those things where you don't really realize how much gets a bad rap until everybody goes gluten-free. And you know what the world does? They kind of run away with trends. And with gluten-free things, it's not particularly bad for some people. Is it bad for other people? Yeah, it'll kill some people. Specifically people who have celiacs, which is an autoimmune problem in which gluten actually attacks some portions of your receptors in your gut. So it's not good for them. Now, there's a difference between a gluten sensitivity and a gluten allergy. Generally, allergies have those scary, crazy problems. The shortness of breath, the hives, the emergency style. Now that's an allergy. You can die from those. Now when it comes to a gluten sensitivity, you know, those are very non-specific things. You'll have like fatigue, headaches, gas, bloating, pain. You'll have very non-specific symptoms, but you don't need to go to the emergency department for that. So what they found with people who have thyroid problems is that not all, but some, tend to have less symptoms and tend to have less problems when they eat less gluten. Their thyroid hormones will be going up and down. It just tends to be a little bit easier of a time. All right, I'm gonna open this queso fresca. I don't think I've ever worked with this. I'm hoping it's not watery. This is watery. I guess that's a sign of a good cheese, right? Ooh, it crumbles. Okay, so we're done with the cheese situation. Just realized the recipe called for a half cup. Anyway, we got a cup of each one. What does this taste like? It's salty. Oh, okay, so I need to preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I am sorry, I don't know what that is in Celsius. I'll put it here. Let's talk about the way that I'm gonna bake these things, shall we? So I have a mini muffin pan because I thought it would be easy to be able to use. I already pre-greased it, which is why it is frothy, but I thought the mini muffin pan would be easy because I could just pour it right in. Perfect. Now, my second idea is to use something like this. These are silicone, so they're easy to pop out, but I used to make this when I had made the cloud bread and try to make some kind of bread product so that maybe we can make something with sandwiches. So apparently you just put everything in here and make sure it's smooth, which all this stuff is really soft, so I can't imagine it not being smooth. So batch one, we'll crack an egg, put it in there. Perfect, easy. Then we need 1/3 of a cup of oil. I'm gonna use grapeseed oil. I know there's controversy on grapeseed oil, but it's literally the only thing in my kitchen. Next up, 2/3 cup of milk. I'm gonna do cashew milk because I don't like regular milk. Now, can you make your own cashew milk? Absolutely. Who's time for that though? This stuff is at the store. Inexpensive and easy. 2/3 cup of milk. 1, 2. It's getting saucy. Oh, that looks really gross. What's next? 1.5 cup of tapioca flour. Now, I get my tapioca flour at a store that's inexpensive called Winco. It's like $1.79 a pound. It's powdery and messy. 1.5. Okay, level it off. 1. Oh, glad I have long sleeves today. Dear Lord, that went everywhere. Baking is messy. 1/2. Don't flop, please. I should wear shorter sleeves next time. And then, cheese. How about the first one we do this one? And we're gonna do a whole cup because I live dangerously. It said half cup packed. I love cheese. We'll see how it turns out. A little bit of salt. Teaspoon of salt. I have a teaspoon, but also I'm not gonna use it. I'm using Himalayan salt with some pepper going in there too. Extra flavor. Great. And then you just blend. I'm liking this recipe already. Where'd the top go? Got that. Now, do you need a fancy ass blender? No. I just have one. Use a NutriBullet, use whatever blender, use a food processor. Whatever you got, use it. All right, here we go. Low, on. Now it moves. This is a job for a tamper. Take the top off. Take the top off. Close it. Get it all mixed up in there. Ooh, it looks like pancake batter. It looks thick. Perfect. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this aside and make the other 3 batches. Here we go. I'm gonna go make 3. Okay, folks, we're back. That took an embarrassing long period of time, but now we have 3 different batters.
Because I'm extra.
We have the Asiago cheese smoked Gouda blend, which was thick, to say the least. Then we have the feta, and then we have the queso fresco. These were much more compliant when it came to getting it out of the container. Compliant. That's such a doctor's term. Anyway, watery, less thick, thick with 4 C's. What I'm gonna do now is I already greased my pans and I'm gonna try to divvy this out and not make a ginormous mess. Okay, so this is what happened. Of the 3 different batters, this one didn't go far, as you can tell. We'll see how well those turn out. But they were thick, so dispersing them were a little tough. I used a melon bubbler. If you don't have one of these, that's fine. You can struggle bus, but it worked really well and it was easy. So I used that in a ladle. So now they go in the oven, 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. It's kind of a broad range, so I guess we'll just check them at 15 and see what happens. Hopefully they don't bake over. Your batter. I made too much. Story of my life. I am eco-conscious, or try to be anyway, so instead of using plastic, use these little cover things. They're reusable, they don't spill. I'm not gonna test that right now, but believe me, they don't spill. So put them in your fridge for like a week. Let's talk about some myths with gluten-free diets. Are they healthy? No, not always. They can be, but they're not always healthy. They use all kinds of replacement flours. It's not particularly the best for you. Some people don't tolerate rice and grains well. Myth number 2, you lose weight when you go on a gluten-free diet. Not always, no. Again, aforementioned rice proteins and all kinds of other things that they put in the substitutes to make it taste good, to make it in the same vicinity of a texture of gluten, it's not the best for you. It's kind of like when they say you go on a vegan diet, you're gonna lose weight. Yeah, if you go completely plant-based and you don't eat any alternatives or any of the cheeses or the meats or any of the deliciousness,
You're gonna lose weight.
Myth number 3, gluten intolerance is very common. I don't see this. Actually, only 1% of the population has gluten intolerance in terms of celiac disease. Now, sensitivities are a different thing. I feel like most of my patients have some kind of gut issues going on, and gluten can be a little bit rough on their gut in terms of making their gut issues worse. But man, the studies out there are kind of slim when it comes to diet and nutrition.
There's a lot on medications.
But when it comes to nutrition, they always say, oh, there's not enough evidence to say it is or it isn't. You know how expensive research is? So I'm gonna let these bake for 15 minutes and I'll see you when they're done. Hopefully they're delicious. Something's happening, guys. Wanna see what we made? Hopefully it's good. What do you guys think? They look pretty. I like them. What do you think? They good? I don't know, guys. Think the bread turned out good? They don't move, so that might be a good sign. I'm excited. Let's try them out. First impressions. They're a little hard. Inside soft. Let's look at them. Guys.
Oh my god.
You know, I didn't even look to see which one I tried. It's delicious. I gotta do that close up. That is so pretty. Check that out. Mmm. Oh yes, can you see that steam? Oh my god. Guys, I made something and it's really, really good. This is exactly like the Brazilian steakhouses. I am so excited. It's only 6 ingredients. I can't believe it came out. I'm so stoked. But I'm not the only person that should try this. Let's see what Alex says. Alex is my husband, by the way. What's your first impressions?
Those are super cute. They're so
Hey.
pale.
You know what? I put a lot of cheese in them. So I made 3 different kinds. I made one is Asiago cheese, Gouda cheese blend. Hold on. This one is a feta, and then I also did one with a queso fresco. And then I thought I wanted to try making like a bread out of it for people who can't eat gluten-free bread. So that's why these are made.
Oh, that's why they looked. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes,
it's kind of a fail, but we'll see. Try it out.
I bet they won't be. They look like they'll be tasty. I just was noticing the difference in color. Because like these ones are all browned.
I think it's just because this was a metal pan and these are like silicone.
That also may be the key.
I know, there's steam.
Cheese pull almost.
my God. Are they like the Brazilian steakhouse ones?
Or way better.
I was so excited. They were so easy.
They're way better. Holy crap.
Would you have me make them again?
Yeah, I'd eat that whole tray.
I used cashew milk instead of regular milk. I used oil instead of butter. I used like twice the amount of cheese that I was supposed to. Worth it. Yeah, break one of those open. Oh my God. It's like mochi. It might be a little undercooked. I didn't know how to cook those ones.
No, that's the good shit right
Oh my
there.
gosh, so much steam.
It's like a cheese pancake.
I wanna try. This feels like a quesadilla. Look at that cheese pull. Oh man, the silicone imparted silicone flavor. 10 out of 10 would recommend making these because these are amazing. 20 minutes, do the blender, make your life easy. We haven't tried the other two either. So there are 3 different flavors here.
Oh.
So that one, this one is a little harder. It's got a good crack, like it's got a good shell, and then it's just so freaking soft.
Yeah, we sure these on the left. These ones are breadier.
Does that smell like, taste like smoked Gouda?
That's smoked Gouda.
For sure.
That's amazing.
So there's one, oh yeah, these are breadier. Yeah, these had to be it.
There was a thick mother.
And that was the cheese one
Yeah.
versus like using the,
These are really good though.
oh yeah. Those
These
are
might be
smoked
better
Gouda. They're definitely more bready, you can see, but I killed it.
I would almost rank them in order. These are still excellent. It's really shocking to step up even in quality. I'd eat trays of these.
I feel like they taste like just like the Brazilian cheese bites at the steakhouse.
They're way better than the cheese bites at the steakhouse.
Anyway, if you're gluten-free, try this recipe out. It's delicious. Again, this video is made for the Thyroid Awareness Month in the month of January, and gluten-free day is January 13th. I'm gonna put these away because I'm probably gonna eat the entire tray. Thanks for watching. Comment what your favorite gluten-free recipe is at the bottom, and make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.